Welcome back to the Ocala Jockey Club International 3-day event. We have gone through the 1-star show jumping, 3-star show jumping, and now down to the final division, the 2-star. I'm Jenny Autry, delighted to be joined once again by Karen O'Connor to bring you this final division. We've had a fabulous day of jumping so far, Karen.
Well, I'm really happy to be here to watch this all unfold. It's going to be very exciting. The scores are really tight. Chris has set up a couple of really good rounds so far with the 1-star and the 3-star. That was a very exciting finish, by the way. And now here we are with the 2-star, the final division of the day. One thing that has changed a little bit in the variables is the sun is on the setting side now. We have a partly cloudy day, and so it could be completely overcast for one round and completely with the sun in the eyes of the horse for half of the round the other side. So it'll be an interesting way to see it unfold.
It absolutely will. We'll see how conditions might affect visibility, but first we are going to take a look at the scores. Alex O'Neill and Fury H held on to that dressage lead on their score of 29.5 after a super clear cross country yesterday. Doug Payne also remaining in second place with Star Witness on 29.6, Gabrielle Ruan and Liz McKeer-Brewski moving up to third place on 29.9, Ali Knowles and Casarino also moving up one spot on the leaderboard to 30.6, and Will Coleman and TKS Cooley moving up 2 spots on the leaderboard to 31.0. Karen, once again, the scores are so tightly bunched, there's no room for error.
Yeah, they really are.
So Chris Barnard is going to set the 2-star show jumping as well. We will have a look at that shortly, but first let's take a look back at cross-country highlights from yesterday. It really was a fabulous day, Karen.
It was a great day. The footing was fantastic. Here we're seeing a horse go through the Ocala Jockey Club arch, which has become quite a good jump for all the divisions to jump. And there we see Joe Meyer going through there. He had a great ride. I had several great rides yesterday. Still, we're on Joe. That's during the 3-star. Little hang of the leg,
Yep,
but didn't
save
bother
on
him
cross-country.
at all. He let the reins slip through his fingers, and that kept him from getting pitched forward and eventually getting wet. He wouldn't let that happen.
So really could not have asked for better conditions for the cross-country, and we've seen horses jumping beautifully all day long in the show jumping. Time was not a factor in the 1-star, but it was definitely an issue in the 3-star. Only 2 pairs made the time in the 3-star. Will we see time play so much of a factor in the 2-star? You'll have to tune back in to see how it all plays out. First, we're going to go to break and thank our sponsors.
In the rarefied hills of north central Florida sits an equestrian paradise on 950 acres, the Ocala Jockey Club. The pastures are unprecedented. The sunsets are glorious. The Ocala Jockey Club has full training services for thoroughbreds in all stages of their careers. The training track is dragged daily and irrigated to ensure proper consistency of footing. The rolling hills provide natural rehabilitation for horses. Ocala has earned its regard as the horse capital of the world.
Ocala's continued to get better every year, and I'm really excited with what's coming in the years to come for the horse sport.
The Ocala Jockey Club is also home to work-class eventing. The dramatic and rigorous cross-country course was created by an acclaimed Olympic cross-country course designer. The show jumping arena sits within clear view from the Ocala Jockey Club restaurant.
Welcome to the Ocala Jockey Club, the horse capital of the world. And here we are at this amazing venue that can hold its best in anywhere in the world.
It's a great place to train. The ground is wonderful. The people are lovely. The weather, can't really beat that.
This is fantastic. You know, this is world class.
The very best went into the inaugural international CCI 1-star, 2-star, and CIC 3-star events hosted at the Ocala Jockey Club in 2016. It was a resounding success. The Ocala Jockey Club restaurant sits perched on one of the highest points in Marion County, With panoramic views of the farm and training track, it serves as a perfect setting for weddings, clinics, family reunions, holiday parties, as well as corporate meetings and retreats. A perfect destination for resort hospitality. The Ocala Jockey Club, set in the serene natural beauty of north central Florida, is an international resort for the discerning horseman. It is like no other horse facility in the world, combining the hills of Virginia, the lush turf of Kentucky, the pastoral beauty of the English countryside with the welcoming year-long climate of Florida. The Ocala Jockey Club is a horse lover's paradise.
You made a promise. You agreed to never give up. To be a decent neighbor. To ask, what else can I do? You agreed to remember the good people who rise with every challenge. To remember their strength when you feel tired. To serve with grit and grace. To do all your jobs bravely, beautifully. You made a promise. We did too. The all-new Ram 1500.
Do more of what you love in Ocala, Marion County. More rides through natural wonders, more legendary competition, more chances to meet and get to know some of the biggest names in the equestrian world. Experience the horse capital of the world and discover where champions are made. Explore and do more at ocalamarion.com.
Welcome back to the Ocala Jockey Club International 3-day event. We have counted our way down to two-star show jumping. The first horse is in the ring now. So we will be bringing you 34 horses in all in this two-star show jumping. You see our first in, Arden Wilderson with Il Vici.
And Chris Barnard, he has really turned the whole course around. So it's quite a different course than what you may have seen if you were watching earlier to watch the three-star.
89 seconds is the time allowed. So
this horse is already up to fence 8, which was is a little bit of a downhill pitch to Oxer on the way in, vertical with Liverpool on the way out, and then you turn back on yourself. And this is the setup for the final line. Big Oxer. She got a nice 7. In the vertical 1 and 1 in the vertical, and that's the finish. So she actually, what we saw of it was a very, very lovely rhythm and lovely round. She rides this Apogee horse is just beautiful.
And we'll try and see a look at the clock to see how that time rode. 89 seconds is the time allowed, so you see just inside. So that gives us a good indicator right off the bat.
That's pretty close to inside the time.
Yeah, pretty dang close. So Shelby Brost and Crimson are next in, adding 40 jumping penalties yesterday to sit in 35th place.
So the first fence, you have to go right past the in gate. And so it's important that the horses get going, the riders get their horses going forward through the in gate and then catch your balance and rhythm to your first fence, which is along the fence line that is between the course and the clubhouse. There's the in gate there, and she keeps coming forward through there, so she's giving him a nice square turn at the first fence. Bit of a long way to number 2, and you have to canter right past one of the Dodge trucks. She gets that done. And it's a windy first bit of the course. You swing back to yourself onto the third fence, and then a left-hand turn, wrap right around your 11th fence to come back to number 4. And this is the first of many related distances. Oh, and my goodness, she really missed off the turn. She missed her stride off the turn. And then to make matters worse, when he really needed to get some purchase off the ground, he slipped a little bit on the footing. The footing is absolutely perfect, so she would probably look back on that and say, gosh, I just needed a little bit more stud.
Yeah, a real shame there for Shelby Brost and Crimson to have that refusal, so the grounds crew will reset the fence.
They've stopped the clock. We heard the buzzer go off, so that stops the clock. They reset the fence, and then they will start again. She's now getting him warmed up. This is a big oxer going into this line after having had a crash.
Well, you now have to focus, put that behind you, and just try to ride forward, be positive, get your mojo back. Shelby has quite a lot of experience now competing for Canada. She rode this mare at the North American Young Rider Championships and also rode on the Canadian Nations Cup team at Great Meadow over the summer. She'll use that experience now.
So for the other riders, you need to come right up along that fence line and really square the turn off and get your momentum up for that jump. She saw a good stride that time, and he answered to her by coming right down, as genuine as he is.
So a shame there to add that.
Now the second time they're going past the in gate, this time in the opposite direction. And what was the 5 stride heading towards the in gate rode quite tight. This time it rides a little bit more open coming up the hill. Now we're coming to this oxer, square enough, and another Liverpool, this time off of 6 strides. Both Liverpools are directly under the verticals.
And then around to the oxer at fence 10 and finishing with the triple combination. Shelby really saw her
One
distance
stride
there.
A to B, and 2 strides B to C, and it's oxer, vertical, vertical.
So Shelby, Brost, and Crimson will add 4 jumping penalties for their refusal and additional time penalties.
Chris has been a little kinder in that triple combination with this group than he was with the 3-star. He played with the distances a little bit in the 3-star, and it certainly had its heartache, but here with it just a little bit lower, it's riding that much easier.
So hunting for our first clear round in this 2-star. Now we look to Nilsson, Moreira da Silva, and Cash, adding 20 jumping penalties on the cross country yesterday. They now sit on a score of 81.9.
Nilsson had a couple of rides this weekend. He's had a pretty good weekend. This horse, oh, and he's just had the first fence down. That's a shame, and that could be as much as anything a distraction from going past that in gate. I don't know this horse's show jumping record very well, but it looks to be a good jumper. We'll have to wait and see how careful he is. Careful would be the phrase that we would use for a horse that just understands the show jumping phase enough to know that you're not to touch the jumps and knock the jump down. And there's a second rail, catching it on the way up and jumping slightly to the left, so he jumps at the jump, looking for the left-hand corner on the backside. And we see him looking left again, or kind of jumping off to the left, which means he's really using his one hind leg more than the other to jump. He needs to push as much with the right hind as he does with the left hind. There's a third rail. That time he catches it behind.
So 3 to add as he comes into the triple combination, looking to keep those rails in the cups.
And he has, the triple does very, very well. So that's 3 down for Nilsson. That will bring him even a little bit further down the leaderboard than he was.
Okay on the time for Nilsson Rivera da Silva, but adding those 3 rails with cash. So still hunting for our first clear round over Chris Barnard's 2-star show jumping course. Actually, there's a shot of him there. That's our course designer. Now we look to Stephanie Goodman and DRS Resolute. Adding those 20 jumping penalties yesterday, they are coming forward on a score of 81.9.
Resolute. This is number 226 out of Eagle, Idaho.
We only saw 2 clear rounds inside the time in the 3-star, but we only had 9 combinations jumping. 34 in all coming forward in this 2-star.
And Steph is not a very well-known name out here in the East Coast, but she has been all over the country, literally. She lives in Boise, Idaho. She spent 10 or 12 years on the East Coast learning all about eventing in Middleburg, Virginia. And then she also does a fair bit of show jumping. She goes to Arizona and the other sunshine circuits, the thermal, during the winter months when she's based in Idaho. She came out a couple weeks ago. There was quite a contingent. She has a huge contingent here watching and having a great time enjoying this lovely town of Ocala.
And this is the horse's first CCI 2-star. Stepped up to the CIC 2-star level at Woodside and jumped a clear round there.
So far, so good.
So far, so good.
Got to keep the momentum going past the in gate. And then square that turn. That was a nice turn.
Beautiful. Yeah, great job.
Now she has another right-hand turn to a square oxer. He really missed on the way up there. I don't really, it's a tough view for us to see, but he certainly jumped at it from where we were watching.
Yeah, it looked like a good turn and a good shot in.
It looked like he overturned, though. It looked like his right shoulder got out to the right.
So carrying that 1 rail as Stephanie Goodman comes to the triple combination.
And a nice finish.
So just the 1 rail to add for Stephanie Goodman and DRS Resolute. We will check the time. 89 seconds is that time allowed, easily inside that. No problems on the clock, so just the 1 rail to add.
Yeah, so I don't think that the time is going to be an issue for this division. And now we have...
This is Ashley Johnson with Firefly, our next in. They had 11 frangible penalties at that Tiger Trap Oxer yesterday, and an additional 19.6 time penalties, so coming forward on a score of 72.1.
Ashley from Ocala, Florida, riding this Irish 4-horse. Ashley number 230. This pair 9th Rocking Horse, 20th at Stableview. 11th at Rocking Horse back in the spring. Ashley now at 72.1.
Makes a very, very good turn past the in-gate to the first fence. The horse was absolutely straight as an arrow to it, and he rewards her with a really good push off of both hind legs to jump up and around it. Very nice at the second. Waits till the horse lands before she asks for the turn. She has to do the same again here before she turns back to the left. Now she sets up for the first related distance. Stay high up in the turn. Come down when you see the one you want. She gets a great shot. Some horses are going to go in 6 and some in 5. She goes inside the oxer for her time allowed. She added the stride at that last line, so she obviously knows her horse very well and knows she needed to do the inside turn there so that time wouldn't be an issue for her at all.
This is a 9-year-old Irish Sport Horse mare making her CCI 2-star debut.
Very nice jumper, super
Lovely
careful.
Jumper. Had 1 rail down at Pine Top in the CIC 2-star. Last time we saw it out at this level, but it's been off for quite a while for injury, so great to see it back at the level.
And now the triple combination. Boy, it's clever. And that's, oh.
Oh, what a shame. What a shame to
my
have the
rail.
last commentator's curse, Karen.
Oh,
Commentator's curse.
gee.
And
What a shame.
no problem at all on the clock, but unfortunately that last element falling at the triple combination for Ashley Johnson and Firefly to add 4 penalties to their score. They complete on 76.1. Next in will be Sinead Halpin with Cuddy Sark. Sinead was so kind to join us on the broadcast during the 1-star earlier in the day. And she was disappointed to have those 20 jumping penalties yesterday, but she's very much getting back into the groove after having her son.
I think he's only, is he 2 months old or 2.5 months old, something like that? So it's
Yeah,
not so very long ago.
No, she's not been back riding it for very long at all.
8th, the Majestic Oak. 6th, the Rocking Horse.
And
12th,
this is
and
an
the 2-star
11-year-old
International Jersey
gelding.
Fresh this
This is
past
his
summer.
2nd CCI 2-star. Leslie Law piloted him around Jersey Fresh while Sinead was pregnant. And he had 2 down there. So Sinead looking to keep those rails in the cups, which we have yet to see. Still looking for our first clear round, Karen.
Well, nobody could do a better job than Sinead. She's very, very experienced, having ridden all over the world. And she knows how to jump a clear round. She gets the nice 5 there. Very handy too. She goes outside the first fence with quite enough of momentum to be able to make that turn and still keep coming up the hill to this next line, which is nice 5 strides. He just barely got over that. Living a little bit dangerously, just touched it both front and back.
Well, and even though the time hasn't been an issue, the riders have to keep in mind that they have to keep moving.
Yeah. Well, and some of the oxers out there are square and with just enough width to make sure that you have the pace for the back rail. That's always up to the rider to make sure you have enough momentum in your tempo to be able to good
Well,
clear
there's
round.
your first clear jumping round. Well done to Sinead Halpin and Cuddy Sark. She will add no additional penalties to that final score to complete on 67.7. Fabulous to see her getting back to that level after having her son. And it'll be exciting as this horse steps up to the 3-star level.
For sure. Absolutely. She should be thrilled with her weekend.
So our first clear round, well done to Sinead Halpin. We look to Jade Anderson and Fern Hill-Pugh next. Clearing inside the time yesterday, so they remain on their dressage score of 37.4. That has them in 19th place. She's jumping a bit out of order because she has 2 horses in this division.
Jade's in 19th place at 37.4. Now she's riding out of sequence because she has 2 in the class, so we have to separate them by at least 10 rides.
So after our first 6 in the arena, just the 1 clear round inside the time from Sinead Halpin and Cuddy Sark. Here is Jade Anderson riding Fern Hill-Pugh.
So generally in the rules, we do the show jumping in a CCI. We do it reverse order of standing unless you have 2 horses that are within 10 horses apart from each other in the reverse order, and then they give you a little extra time. They push the earlier horse, in other words, the horse that's lesser placed, they'll push that one back. So that's why she's going a bit early.
And this is the horse's first CCI 2-star. He stepped up to do his first CIC 2-star at Chattahoochee Hills in September. Jumped a clear round there. But like you said, Karen, different format. These horses who are just stepping up to the level have never show jumped after going on such a grueling cross-country course. So it's the rider's first time show jumping them when they're this tired after such a long test yesterday.
Well, it was a long test on the clock, but it was certainly very, very fair. The footing was outstanding. The weather was perfect. You know, I think that Clayton Fredericks got it absolutely perfect. I really think he had a beautiful course set up for the riders, and even if it had been wet, I think the horses still would have done just fine.
We saw that rail falling at 5B.
Yep. Horse just jumped a little over his shoulders on 5B and then hit it behind on the way up for a second rail.
So that vertical at fence 6 also falling.
Here we're seeing a loss of rideability between the jumps. I think the horse looks like a decent enough jumper, but when you don't maintain the rideability between the jumps, and mostly that's due to either lack of education for the horse, they're still a bit green, or that the horse can be tired from the day before, like we were talking just a little bit before. You know, so it's just one of those things where you try to have that rideability so that the horses can show their best.
So 2 rails to add for Jade Anderson and Fernhill Cute. Will complete on a score of 85.4. Next in we have Sarah Mitleider and La Paz, adding 20 jumping penalties yesterday and an additional 14 time penalties, has them on a score of 64.8. Just rounding out that top 30 coming into the final phase. This is another rider making a very long trip and has been over here on the East Coast quite a while leading up to this competition.
Yeah, also from Boise. She came over a lot earlier than Steph Goodman, though. She and her husband, Atia, came over a couple weeks before and participated in plantation and whatnot. First fence down, that's a real shame because this is quite a nice horse. Quite a good jumper. And maybe she needed to have, like we were talking about, just a little bit more pace coming past the in-gate so he didn't get distracted.
This is another horse stepping up to do his first CCI 2-star here at the Ocala Jockey Club. He ran in the CIC 2-star at Virginia as his final prep run, jumped clear there.
Yeah, he has another
coming down.
But another one that's on the way up, and when he opens his forearm on the way up, the horses have a tendency to touch the jumps with their front foot. He has to bring the knee up at the takeoff, but he has to keep his fetlock flexed.
So Sarah Mitleider and La Paz carrying 1 rail at the Liverpool Oxer at fence 4. And also having that first fence down. The horse has never had more than 1 rail down in his international career. So again, when we talk about horses who have never been this tired before coming into a show jumping around, it can take its toll, Karen.
For sure, and these horses, you know, they do travel around a lot, and so but look what a good jumper he is. He jumped her right out of the tack.
What an effort. What an athlete this horse is.
Yeah, I think this horse thinks he's very careful, and I think that he tries a little bit hard at that first moment of takeoff, and every once in a while catches it on the way up.
So adding a 1 time penalty as well as 2 rails down for Sarah Mitleider and La Paz, but I think 8 years old, this Hungarian sport horse is going to be an exciting one to watch for the future. Now we look to Waylon Roberts and Uprising, representing Canada. Unfortunately, adding 20 jumping penalties yesterday on the cross country and an additional 11.2 time penalties has them in 29th with a score of 64.3.
Waylon's got such an international career at this point. Spends a lot of his time in the U.S., but he is absolutely from Canada. Both of his parents competed internationally in eventing and Olympic Games and World Equestrian Games. So he comes by it naturally.
And this is an 11-year-old thoroughbred gelding who won his first CIC 2-star at Morven Park in preparation for this event. Jumped a super clear round there, and you can see there he has springs in his legs.
And he knows he was behind on that line. He knew the horse went way out to the left, and he really had to make a big move to get the horse back into the double. And it was a bit of a risky move because he got to the 5 strides, but then he had to really hold the horse off the second of the 2 verticals.
Waylon saw a good shot in there.
And the Liverpools are riding very well.
So still just the 1 clear round so far from Sinead Halpin and Cuddy Sark. We are looking for our 2nd clear. Can Waylon Roberts and Uprising leave those poles in the cups? Well, that was a commentator's curse that time, Karen.
That was your rail.
First of the triple falls, you see Waylon looking back to confirm that that did fall. Unfortunate after the horse jumped really well, I thought, to have that down. No trouble on the clock, but 1 rail to add for Waylon Roberts and Uprising. They complete on 67.3.
I think the horse tried so hard over the Oxer before the triple and then just brought the hind end down.
Caught up to him then at that
Well,
triple.
he just brought the hind end down slightly early and punched that back rail out.
Next we look to Lindsay Trainout with Bassi Rouge, adding 20 jumping penalties yesterday and an additional 6 time penalties brings them forward on a score of 62.0. This is a 7-year-old Celle Francais gelding in his CCI 2-star debut.
Lindsay's such a great girl. She trained here in the U.S. before going to England, and then she ended up going to France to train there, and she met her now husband, and they have a beautiful, lovely daughter. So it's a real family affair.
Yes, another rider representing Canada. And looking at the horse's record, he had 2 down in the CIC 2-star at Plantation Fields, and his only attempt at this height so far. But again, all different ball game when you're in a CCI, and show jumping is on the final day after that cross country, Karen.
Yeah, she looks to me like she needs just a bit more pace. You can't just get the pace at the last moment. You have to have a rhythm all the way around the course so that the horse can work within the tempo of that rhythm.
So we see that rail tumbling down at the Liverpool Oxer at fence 4. It's a nice 5 strides through there.
Pretty good there. The horse it looks like it's got quite a strong bit on, so it obviously gets strong for her. Just to be so careful with a strong bit not to interfere with the horse's mouth, thus interfering with the shape of the jump over when the horse is in the air. Sets up for the triple combination. It's Oxer on the way in. 1 stride vertical, 2 stride vertical. Chris is doing a great job of enticing the riders to get a little bit happy after having done the B element and having last fence-itis and cutting the turn to the left and you know, wants to make sure you're going to stay absolutely straight to the C element.
So 1 rail to add and an additional time penalty for Lindsay Traynell and Bassie Rouge. Complete on a score of 67.0. Next we look to Leslie Law representing Great Britain with LCC Vogue, another horse making his CCI 2-star debut.
In this division.
This is a 7-year-old Irish sport horse. Finished 4th in the CIC 2-star at Stableview last month, and 2nd in the Chattahoochee Hills CIC 2-star, both with clear show jumping rounds, Karen. So 2 clear show jumping rounds at the CIC 2-star level. Can he deliver the clear round in his first attempt at CCI 2-star?
Well, that's always, I love watching Leslie ride when he knows that he wants to jump a clear round. So he's a little bit, puts himself under pressure, and you see an even more brilliant round from Leslie rather than someone that, you know, is losing to the pressure. He loves the pressure.
Well, he's certainly no stranger to pressure, Karen, having won Olympic gold medal at the Athens Games.
Absolutely.
And represented Great Britain on so many championship teams, and I loved seeing him get back to represent Great Britain on the Nations Cup team this year.
Much more organized on the backside of every jump, and he was able to make that very nice turn after the line to go inside the first fence and make it look easy for the horse. So that gives him the ability to have no worry about the time allowed.
I love the expression on this horse's face. You can tell ears pricked, looking for his next fence. Getting a little spicy there in that turn.
He's quite wide this jump, so he stayed out on his turn until he saw forward distance to that. In 1 stride, and
well, that is a clear
got
round.
A beautiful clear that time.
Leslie looks over to the clock, and no problems at all on that time. 89 seconds is the time allowed, so that is our 2nd clear round inside the time for Leslie Law and LCC Vogue. They complete the horse's first CCI 2-star on 55.7. Shame to have those 20 jumping penalties yesterday, but this is totally a horse for the future, Karen.
Absolutely.
Now Robin Walker and SBT Barolo come forward, adding 20.4 time penalties yesterday. Has them sitting just inside the top 25 on a score of 54.9. So just the 2 clear rounds inside the time so far as we make our way through this 34-horse CCI 2-star division.
Of course, owners Claire and John Brandt. John is here. I know Claire's out in Michigan, and they're the owners of Guardian Horse Betting, and they are a sponsor within the show jumping here today as well. So shout out to you, Claire. The horse looked fabulous.
Yeah, definitely looking fabulous. He's 8 years old now, an Irish sport horse gelding. Another making his CCI 2-star debut here at the Ocala Jockey Club.
Got to get Claire out of the office and get her to come watch some of these competitions.
Absolutely. See how fabulous your horse looks in person. He stepped up to the CIC 2-star level this year, 8th at Morven Park in his final prep run for this event, and has jumped clear rounds in his last 3 internationals.
So we talk about the rideability again, and Robin's using all of his experience to maintain a level of rideability with this horse. He lost it in the two stride there. Let the horse get a little bit to the right, take off to landing at that jump. We want to make sure that the horse stays careful, but what makes a horse careful is their ability to push with their hind legs to come up around the jump with their body being worked in a very round shape. It's a core strength sport for the horse as well, and you want the horse to be belly up, not belly down. There he has the back rail of that oxer on the way in. And it was a little bit like they were riding, you know, it was coming for them.
Yeah. Unfortunately, adding that one rail in the triple combination after having that clear round so far, so one rail to add for Robin Walker and SBT Barolo, they complete on a score of 58.9. Now Arden Wildison returns riding her second horse. This is Apogee. Clear round inside the time. Moved them up to 24th position. So still on their dressage score of 44.7. So just the two clear rounds inside the time so far from Sinead Halpin and Leslie Law.
It's a really pleasant looking horse, isn't it?
Yeah, just very easy in the way he goes.
Yes, effortless.
He's an 11-year-old Irish sport horse gelding and has completed a CCI 2-star with his former rider Michael Ryan, but this is their first together as a pair.
Right. So she tipped forward on the landing of that first jump, not because of her upper body, but because of her lower leg. She has to keep her lower leg still, and the strength of your lower leg determines the strength of your entire position. So any of that instability on the landing side is usually, you want to work lower down in your position to keep your lower leg still so you have that independence of your position. That's a bit better. There we go. And now she's picked up the pace a little, and it's a little bit easier to maintain that position if you have slightly more pace.
Yeah, she settled
there
into a nice
she cut
rhythm
that
now.
turn a little bit. That's just a lack of experience there. She gets away with it. There again, cutting the turn just a little bit. And
it catches up to her.
It just catches up to you. That's not luck, that's just experience and technique.
So a rail falling at the Oxer at fence 8 for Arden Wildison and Apogee. Will make their way to this final Oxer at fence 10.
And there she made a very good turn there, and the horse really jumped up at both hind legs and just really scoped up over it. That's a very clever horse, isn't it?
Very clever. Just the one rail falling, and you see Arden Wildison giving Apogee big pats. They will complete on a score of 48.7, just inside that time allowed of 89 seconds. Time really not proving to be an issue, Karen, but rails certainly are. Just the two clear rounds inside the time so far. Now we look to Hallie Kuhn and Cooley SOS. Had a super clear round inside the time yesterday on the cross country. That moved them up to 23rd place on their dressage score of 40.6. Yet another horse making his CCI 2-star debut.
Hallie's had a very good weekend as well, hasn't she? Had a lot of good experiences this weekend with the different riders and horses.
Yep, she just before the 2-star, she finished 5th in the CCI 3-star with Lansdowne in his debut at the level. Now looking for a top finish with this horse, who's, when we talk about horses for the future, wow, Karen, this is definitely one of them.
He's a nice horse. She wants to be careful in these jumps where you have to jump and turn, to not turn until the horse lands. Once the front feet have landed and the hind feet has crossed the plane of the jump, then that's the time to turn. If you start your turn, here's an example here, and she just turns with her upper body before the horse lands, and he's a very careful horse, but when they get higher and the courses are longer the day before, it will be more difficult for him to jump clear.
He's had a rail down in all 3 of his international runs to date, so hunting for his first clear round at international level.
That was much better there.
So clear so far as they come
Watch
to this
twist
Oxer
your
10.
upper body there. Good. All right.
Rubbing the last, but it stays in the cups.
Stays in the cups, so.
Clear round for Hallie Kuhn and Cooley SOS.
She has a good, bright future with her horses. I know that she wants to head back to England in March, so she's only here for a few months. I think she's really digging it over there. So much competitiveness within every single level in England. Some 14 to 18, 20 some odd countries all competing together day in and day out.
So we have now seen 3 clear rounds inside the time. Now we look to John Holling and Dushi Terma. Clear and inside the time yesterday, moved them up to 11th place. So this is a key round jumping out of order because John has 2 horses in the division.
34.2. Clear
This
cross
is a
country
10-year-old Dutch warm blood gelding.
Third at Chat Hills, and 6th at Table View just a month ago.
The horse competed to the CCI 2-star level with Sam Griffiths in England before John took on the ride. And this is their first CCI 2-star together as a combination.
So I did find out from my friend Packy McGaughan that the Dushi term, remember we talked about this yesterday.
Yes, the meaning of the name.
It's a slang word in Dutch meaning good and meaning treasure. So good treasure.
Good treasure. Okay. Shout out to Packy for helping us.
And always
solve.
Packy has
Yes,
the-
always Packy has the answers.
Yeah, those answers.
So all clear so far for John Holling and Dushi Terma, or Good Treasure, now that we know that.
He's riding really well. I like this horse. They're a good partnership. Very good there. A little choky to the in of the triple, but the horse is very careful. He keeps a good balance. John has wonderful control of his upper body.
So just the 1 rail to add for John Holling and Dushi Terma on the horse's debut at the level. And you see our next in there is Nilson Rare de Silva with Rock Phantom. So we saw him earlier in the division. Now he returns to the 2nd ride. Added just the 6 time penalties on cross country yesterday to come forward on a score of 40.3. That has them in 22nd place. So we are making our way into the top 25, going in reverse order of standing, counting down. This is a 7-year-old Irish sport horse gelding, making his CCI 2-star debut. I know his owner, Melissa Stubenberg, is watching from back home, so shout out to her.
Very good jumper. Super behind. And then just needed to have that more rideability where the horse can gather itself together and work its balance off of the front rail and stay off that front rail.
Yeah, real shame both 5A and 5B come tumbling down.
Oh, and then he just totally missed there. If it's 4 or 5, the horse actually doesn't care what you decide, but they do need to have you decide.
So the rail also falling at the vertical at fence 7. So 3 rails so far as they make this turn to the final oxer and then the triple combination.
And now a 4th. Wow. He has it in front and he had it behind, and then he gave some beautiful jumps. So it's quite a mixed bag there, but a young horse, he'll maybe do some show jumping this winter and see if they can sort it all out.
4 rails to add for Nilson Rare de Silva and Rock Phantom. Complete on 60.3. Now Justine Dutton comes forward with MGH Heartbeat. Clear round with 7.6 time penalties yesterday has them coming forward on a score of 40.0, sitting just outside the top 20 after the first 2 phases. And Justine had so many people cheering her around the course yesterday, Karen, as she made a really important comeback.
Yeah, she took a really nasty fall at Great Meadows 18 months ago, and it really took her to the sidelines for the better part of a year, I think. I think she break her pelvis and
Yeah, just battled a variety of injuries, but never gave up. Fierce determination to get back. And she said that this mare was a big part of why she was able to get back. Gives her a lot of confidence, and she's had Gemma Tattersall over from Great Britain, coaching her for the last couple of weeks.
That's great.
Yeah, really fabulous to see Justine back and riding so well. This mare is 7 years old, an Irish sport horse. They jumped a clear round in the CIC 2-star at Chattahoochee Hills in September. That was their first CIC 2-star together. So this is the mare making her CCI 2-star debut.
Takes 6 strides there to the nice 2. Whoop. A little bit of a left to right angle there, but it worked out for her. Oh, that's an unfortunate rail. Again, it's hard because you're coming right past the in gate, and if you cut the turn too much, the horses never get straight long enough to really concentrate on the jump in front of them.
So Justine Dutton and MGH Heartbeat carrying that rail at the vertical.
Horse has quite a lot of scope though, doesn't it?
Super jumping horse.
Has a second rail there, it's just getting flat on her.
Well, unfortunately, the 2 rails to add, but when we think big picture, Karen, so happy for her to have completed this event, and
Absolutely.
I know she's going to come away with a lot of confidence, especially as we look forward to the year to come.
How do they say it in England? Never mind.
Never mind. 48.0 they will complete on Justine Dutton and MGH Heartbeat. Rebecca Hoos is next with Little Cruise. Just the 4.8 time penalties on cross country yesterday has them on 39.9. So just sitting on the bubble of that top 20.
And I just saw Becca's dad, Bill Hoos, who rode earlier, with granddaughter in his lap going down the hill on the golf cart to watch Becca and Little Cruise. It's adorable.
Yep. Big family affair for the Hoos family. And it's been pretty adorable to see the baby riding around this week with the golf cart.
And to see Bill as a grandpa.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. This horse has a lot of experience now. 16-year-old Irish sport horse gelding. He's competed up to the 3-star level. And we've had just the 3 rounds inside the time. Looking for number 4.
Oh, no, she has one down.
So that
Just needs to slow it down a bit.
getting lucky
Very
there.
lucky there. Just slow it down.
So the rail falling at the Oxer, Liverpool at Fence Fort.
And that's where the rideability just incrementally started to disappear from her. Now she's had a good bit of time to get it back. Now she has to repeat getting her rideability back before this square Oxer down the line in 6 strides to the Liverpool. Gets that done. She's makes the flying change to the left lead. Comes out of the turn, sees the one she wants. It's a big jump over that. Now you got to get the rideability back before you get in that triple, or else you run out of room. And he's very clever, wasn't he? Good job from Becca, too.
Yeah, fabulous from the horse. Just the 1 rail to add for Rebecca Hoos and Little Cruise. They complete on a score of 43.9. And now we will see Jade Anderson returning with her 2nd horse in this division. Saw her earlier in the order with Fernhill Q. Now she will ride Fernhill Oreo. 3 clear rounds inside the time over Chris Barnard's show jumping course so far.
It's not that many, really, is it?
No, it's really not. Once again, the clock not proving to be so much of a factor, but rails falling really all throughout the course.
But I will make a prediction. I think as we go further up the order,
More of those clear rounds will start.
I think for sure we see an awful lot of very, very experienced riders at the top of the leaderboard after the cross country, and some very, very good show jump riders.
Well, the vast majority of the horses we've seen so far are new to the CCI 2-star level. So greener horses. Now we look to Fernhill Oreo and Jade Anderson. Clearing inside the time yesterday. Had them stay on their dressage score of 36.8. This is an 8-year-old Irish sport horse competing in his first CCI 2-star. He was 14th in the Chattahoochee Hills CIC 2-star. In September, that was his first attempt at the CIC 2-star level. A lot of horses and riders stepping up at this event.
Absolutely. She got the 5 easy, but he was very slow off the floor and came down early behind, bumping that rail right out of the cups.
Yes, that rail falling at fence 5A.
Having a bit of a say about things there.
Yeah, they're having a bit of a conversation.
She's riding him in a fairly long shank pelham, which gives her some vertical pressure to be able to keep him round, keep the handbrake on. I think he's a horse that probably gets a little bit strong with her. And really took that rail in front, punched it right out the backside.
So a second rail falling at the Oxer at fence 10. Clear through the triple combination. So they will add 8 jumping penalties to that dressage score to complete on a score of 44.8.
Jade in front of Hill Final gives them the final of 44.8.
Still just the 3 clear rounds inside the time, so we are hunting for number 4. Now we look to Will Coleman and Don Dante.
Will's got 2 in the top 10, so
they are jumping out of order, so this is when we have to watch carefully, Karen. A fast clear round yesterday moved them up to 5th place on a score of 31.0, so Will is jumping out of order because he has 2 horses in this division.
Will has a vast amount of experience in show jumping, not just in eventing, but spends a fair bit of time in Wellington. His dad was a show jumper. He competed in the high amateurs in Wellington every winter, and then Will started in ponies and then went right on to eventing. He had some wonderful horses during his young rider career. And now he has a great string of horses, some multiple owners. And married to his beautiful wife, Katie, and they also have a newborn in the last, how old is their dog?
Charlie's older now, yeah. I got to see her this morning, say hi to her. Also a horse show baby.
A horse show baby,
growing up in the sport, which is wonderful. This horse is 8 years old, an Irish sport horse. He stepped up to the CCI 2-star level at Bromont and jumped a clear show jumping round there. Just rubbing that, stays in the cups. Big jump over that Liverpool Oxer at fence 4.
Easy down there in the 5. Made the double just a little bit tight, but he let the horse go a little bit left to give it a slightly more room. He's coming past the in-gate. You've got to keep the momentum, square the turn off. Oh, he got a great shot over that, and the horse really pushed off nicely with both hind legs. The horse has super scope.
Well, just looking at his record, Karen, he's never had a rail down in his entire international career. No, he can do it.
Don't say that. Don't say that. That's something we say at the end.
6 clears. He can do it. Come on, Will. I have faith.
So when we use the word careful, this is what we're talking about. We're talking about a horse that holds his posture and his balance off the front rail, but has plenty of scope for the width, and there he does it again.
Well,
so a nice, beautiful
clear round from Will Coleman. And Don Dante, they will complete on their dressage score of 31.0. They came into this jumping out of order, tied for 5th place, so we're going to have to remember that score, Karen, because the top 9 are separated by only 1 rail. So
I'll remind you.
We are counting our way down in reverse order of standing. There's only 1 rail separating the top 9. Will Coleman, sitting in 5th, has just jumped clear to stay on that score of 31.0.
And it's interesting, his 2 horses are tied for 5th.
Are tied on the same exact score. So this is starting to get exciting now. That was our 4th clear round inside the time. Now we look to Allie Knowles with Princess B. They were our pathfinders yesterday on the cross country. Clearing inside the time has them in 10th place on 33.8. So Allie also jumping out of order. This is a 13-year-old Dutch warm-blood mare. She won the Morven Park CIC 2-star and just had that rail down.
So that was 5A. Just turning a little bit before the horse lands. She wants to be very careful about that. Chris has given us a very loopy course, so there's a lot of turns to the jumps, and a lot of turns right after the jumps. She makes a big effort over the oxer in the corner. And lovely through the triple.
So 4 jumping penalties to add for Allie Knowles with 1 rail down, super speedy on the clock. The time allowed is 89 seconds, has not been a factor and as influential.
Nothing, finishing on 33.8, staying in the ribbons.
So that rail did not fall, Karen.
Yeah, you know, I thought that I saw the thing bump up and then it went out of the view of our, so it didn't come down, so she was a clear. That's awesome.
That's fabulous. Well, shout out to Buck Davidson, who was watching behind us and tapped me on the shoulder and said, that didn't fall. So that is one that's very much still in the mix. They complete on 33.8, another one to complete on their dressage score. So now we look to Joe Meyer and Gort Glass Crazy Love, also making the time yesterday, moving up to 17th place on their dressage score of 36.5.
I will wait until I see the rail in the dirt before I make another comment.
Well, I gave you the benefit of the doubt, Karen.
Well, I saw it, like I saw it jump up out of the cups. Okay, that one did go down.
That one did go down. So Joe Meyer carrying that 1 rail down with this 9-year-old Irish sport horse. They went to Bromont over the summer in the CCI 2-star, but did not complete. So getting it done on the cross country yesterday with a super round.
Setting up for the nice oxer in the corner. And now I did see that one go down as well.
So a second.
Also the front rail of an oxer.
So a second rail falls for Joe Meyer and Gort Glass Crazy Love.
Horse looks just a little low in front, a little tired from the day before.
Tired. So 8 to add for Joe Meyer and Gort Glass Crazy Love. That'll put them onto a score of 42.5. We look to Lila Gendel next with BT Just a Rebel in their CCI 2-star debut. Super speedy clear round yesterday on the cross country, has them remaining on their dressage score of 36.2, sitting just outside the top 15 in 16th place. This is a super little Irish sport horse, originally produced by Camilla Spears in Ireland. And Lila has really been diligently doing her homework and moving up the levels, worked really hard on her show jumping. So she trains with Randy Ward quite a lot when she's back up in New England during the summer. And been based down here in Ocala. In the lead up to this, we saw her at Plantation Field, so we had her up in Unionville, where I live, for a little bit. And it was great to see her up there, having such a super go in the first CIC 2-star. And what an achievement, Karen, to be able to get up to your first CCI 2-star.
Oh, it's wonderful. Yeah, it is really special time of your career.
And the horse is just 8 years old, a super show jumper. They've jumped clear in their last 3 internationals.
Not for nothing, Jenny, but that was your reel also.
Commentator's curse.
She's having a very lovely round, though. The horse looks to be a very nice jumper. She's got great rideability. And then there is just the one little detail for me is the fashion police says no white gloves in show jumping.
So just the 1 rail to add. You see Lila giving BT Just a Rebel big pats to complete their first CCI 2-star
She'll
on
be
a score
thrilled.
of 40.2. I mean, what an achievement.
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
just over the moon for Lila. And everyone remember this little horse because he's a blast to watch cross country. It's going to be so much fun to watch them next year. So 5 clear rounds inside the time. We are looking for number 6. Now we look to Leslie Grant Law with Lady Chatterley, adding 4.4 time penalties on cross country yesterday, has them sitting 15th.
Good at the first. She had a lovely cross-country ride
Lovely
yesterday.
round yesterday, yeah.
And I talked to her a little bit about it after, and she was really thrilled.
Well, the mare stepping up to do her first CCI 2-star and really stepped up to the plate yesterday.
A little bit of a stutter off the ground there. She's the horse out in front of her leg, and then it needs to stay in front of her leg so that she can work these distances and measurements of the course. Better.
The mare is 7 years old, Holsteiner, and a phenomenal jumper.
Really looks like it wants to jump a nice clear round.
Well, the mare has yet to have a rail in her international career. I know it's dangerous to say it, but I have faith that Leslie can do this.
A good in. And a lovely clear round.
Super. Well done.
She'll be very happy with that, huh?
Leslie Grant Law guarantees herself in. So a rail down that we did not see then, because Brian O'Connor, I can hear him saying that she did have a rail down.
And maybe a time fault, finishing on 40.8.
Okay, so 1 rail falling for Lady
I'm not
Chatterley.
Sure. We'll look it up.
This is Kim Liddell with Eye of the Storm. Clearing inside the time yesterday on the cross country moved them into the top 15. So coming forward on a score of 35.7. Rubbing that rail there, but it stays in the cups.
Catches that on the way up.
So the 1 rail falling there at the Liverpool Oxer.
Looking just a little scampery, you know, that where it looks like it's just quick in its rhythm and a little against the hand, mouth is open. So it's on, there's another rail going. It's on the hand, and in order for the riders to be able to have that rideability, the horse has to have its center of gravity further back over the hind end, so it's on the leg, meaning that the rider is riding from the leg first instead of on the hand. This will be interesting through the triple combination. Yeah, and the C element goes.
So 3 rails down for Kim Liddell and Eye of the Storm to add 12 jumping penalties. They will complete on a score of 47.7. So the 5 clear rounds inside the time and alt as we make our way into the final 10 horses and riders to go. Cosby Green and Highly Suspicious are the next pair in.
Well, it's getting very exciting now. Now we see our, gosh, they're almost a rail now between all of them.
Yes. Any pull down now will prove incredibly costly. It's going to shoot you straight down the leaderboard, so clear rounds are paramount. Also, all the horses and riders who are still to come all made the time yesterday on cross country. So everyone remaining on their dressage score, and everyone wants to finish on that, Karen.
Absolutely.
That is the goal.
Coming around to her first line, it's these blue and white rails, phasic Tipton jump over the Liverpool, down to the very wonderful tack shack of Ocala combination, double of verticals.
This Pairs competing in their first CCI 2-star together. Jumped a clear round at Morven Park in the CIC 2-star in their final prep run before coming down to Ocala. Really checked him back there.
Yeah, she must have landed into that line feeling the horse really zooming away from her and had to take her very strong, a little bit sharp with the aids there, and she realized it right after that it was just too much. Nice, careful horse, and I think that's a clear.
Clear and inside the time for Cosby Green and Highly Suspicious. They are number 6 to leave all the poles in the cups and beat the clock. So completing on that dressage score of 35.4 in the horse's first CCI 2-star. Well done to Cosby, super round. John Holling returns with his next ride in the division. It's Delant Toretto. This horse is tied for 8th place on his dressage score of 33.3 after the cross country.
On 33.0. As we get down to ribbons, we are only 4 points separating the top 8 in the class coming up next.
Very good at the first fence.
There is only one rail separating all remaining horses and riders still to come. So this is the definition of a nail biter, Karen.
The second fence sponsored by Frederick's Equestrian.
Also the sponsor of the fabulous hospitality tent for the riders and grooms this weekend. And FEI Stabling, the wonderful sponsor of our live stream.
It's the 5 done. The whole thing's moving left to right, so John's going to want to make sure to re-straighten this horse, get it past the in gate, keep it straight with the left rein and left leg.
This is a 7-year-old Holsteiner mare and
Better.
another who has yet to have a rail down in her international career. This is her first CCI 2-star.
Clear so far. Coming to the final line. Good over the oxer. Oxer in, no problem. One stride's easy. This horse really does hold itself off the front rail, and that proves for a lovely clear round for John.
And a clear round there for John.
John Holling and Delant Toretto make it 5 for 5 clear rounds in this mare's international career, and one I think is going to be exciting to watch in the future, Karen.
Absolutely.
Finishing on that
Super
dressage score
exciting
of
to see
33.3.
John bringing along such a lovely horse.
So that is the 7th pair to leave all the poles in the cups and beat the clock. Now we look to Leslie Law in first class. Tied for 8th place on that same score of 33.3.
He and John Holland both tied after the cross country.
So Leslie Law was closer to the optimum time on cross country yesterday, so if he also jumps a clear round, he would break the tie with John Holling.
Also second to Carolina International in March.
I feel like Leslie's been in a few times today.
He's had quite the busy day.
Good through the double.
The 7-year-old Oldenburg Gelding making his CCI 2-star debut. Has only had one rail down in his international career. And I think you can see, Karen, I mean, a super jumper, such technique.
Yeah, it's really a lovely horse to watch. Thus the name First Class. Love me a first class seat. Nice presentation of the triple, and the horse does reward him for a beautiful clear round.
So that is clear round number 8 for Leslie Law in first class. They will complete on that score of 33.3, and as they were closer to the optimum time, they will break that tie with John Holling, both of them completing on the same score. So we have just 6 left to go now. All of these horses and riders are separated by one rail, so a pull down is going to shoot you straight down the leaderboard. Maya Black is next in with FE Black Ice. moving up 5 spots yesterday on cross country on their dressage score of 32.5.
Out of Clinton, Washington, on the German sport horse. In 7th place.
This horse is 8 years old now. Maya took him out to Rebecca Farm in Montana for his first CCI 2-star, and they finished 6th there. So looking to do it one better, Karen, and get into the top 5 here at the Ocala Jockey Club.
Oh, not to be today. She just had the first fence down.
Such a
both
shame.
front and back rails.
Well, and he had one rail down at Rebecca Farm when he finished 6th, so she'll be looking to keep it to just the one rail.
Turning to the Fasig-Tipton Oxer, down the hill in 5 strides, or sometimes 6. 5 today for Maya. So the tack shack of Ocala.
So that will drop her outside the top 5, but keep her inside the top 10 right now if she can keep it to just the one rail.
Just riding very carefully, keeping the pace up, but riding very cautiously because it's really a long course when you've had the first fence down. It's so annoying. And now she has a second rail, the back side of that Oxer, and a third rail at the last, at the C element of the last fence.
So
well, she'll be really super disappointed in that.
12 penalties to add for Maya Black and FE Black Ice. They complete on a score of 47.5. Not the way that she would have liked to end their weekend, but she will go home with her show jumping homework to work on looking ahead to next season. Just 5 to go now. Will Coleman returns now with his final ride. That is not Will Coleman.
No, that's definitely not.
That's Gabrielle Ruan jumping out of order. So I'm guessing that Will and Ali will be joining us out of order because they are still not quite yet ready to go into the ring. So Gabrielle Ruan is sitting in 3rd place. After the cross country, she is going to jump early with Liz McKira-Brewski. They are on a score of 29.9.
Good to the first. Second fence is a bit of a, oh, and she has that down. That's a shame. She just started to turn to the right before the horse had cleared the jump, and he stopped the hind legs. Everything's got to stay straight.
So Gabrielle Ruan carrying the one rail down.
Good there.
That will still keep her inside the top 10 right now.
Don't
She can keep
turn
it to
your
a
body.
minimum.
There we go. That's a bit better. And she does let the horse get over to the right-hand corner, and that can always lose power as you do it. There he jumps to the right again, and this time she pays the price.
Well, and seeing it from the head-on angle, you can really see that right drift.
And she's got to get her right leg on, and he's got to respect it enough to move away from it and stay straight. And then he has a third one down. He's just, every time she puts her right leg on, he pushes into it, so he's not getting the engagement with the right hind leg that gives him more spring over the jump, and she's having another one. So this is really, the wheels are falling off for her.
4 rails in all falling for Gabrielle Ruan and Liz McKira-Brewski. A shame to end their weekend after a superb first 2 phases.
4 rails down, no time, but Gabrielle adding 16.
That'll put her way down the order.
5.9.
As I had said, you know, I wasn't quite right because we have had some good clear rounds, but not as many as I had expected.
Well, 8 clear rounds in all as we make our way down into just 4 more horses and riders to jump. This is Will Coleman coming in now with TKS Cooley. He is tied with himself on a score of 31.0.
Clubhouse leader.
Clubhouse leader. He jumped earlier out of order with Don Dante. So 31.0 is the score to beat.
So it is that close, just a point and a half now between these final 4.
1 rail down means you are out of it. Clear rounds paramount. We've seen 8 clear rounds inside the time so far as we are counting our way down.
Will's such a pretty rider. He's a very classical rider. His position's excellent. It's a very quiet way.
This horse is an 8-year-old Irish sport horse gelding, and another superb show jumper in Will String has yet to have a rail down at international level, and that includes a clear round at Bromont in his CCI 2-star debut. What a jump there over that oxer.
Very nice.
Certainly not looking like he wants to touch a pole today.
Rattled that just a little bit. And looks like a careful horse, so that might just give him a little bit of an edge. Good so far. 4 more jumping efforts to go.
And Will was closer to the optimum time with this horse, so this one would break the tie. What an incredible jump there over that oxer.
Don't breathe. And he's clear. Super, huh?
This one wasn't going to touch a rail today, Karen. TKS Cooley showing that he is a star in the making for Will Coleman and unbelievably fast on the clock. That might be round of the day.
Well, it was so smooth and so rhythmical and just lovely.
So he will also complete on a score of 31.0, but become the new clubhouse leader because being closer to the optimum time will break that tie. Now we look to Ali Knowles and Casarino. 30.6 in the dressage has them in 4th place.
Now in 4th place, clear cross country yesterday, now at 30.6.
The remaining 4 horses and riders are separated by 1.1 penalties. It doesn't get much closer than that.
It's such a thrilling finish, isn't it? It's just, we have no idea who's going to take home this prize.
And that is the effect of the removal of the dressage multiplier. We no longer multiply dressage scores by 1.5, so scores are so much more tightly bunched after the first phase, and it really makes for a thrilling finale on the final day.
There's just no room for any kind of adding score on the 3rd day. This horse is jumping great.
He's an 11-year-old Holsteiner gelding, has a lot of mileage now at the 2-star level. They were 3rd in the CCI 2-star at Jersey Fresh in May, jumped a super clear show jumping round there in the rain. And all clear so far as they come to this final triple combination.
Super
Beautiful.
clear.
Big smile from
Putting the
Ali.
pressure on. Well, the good news is that Ali jumped third. The bad news is that now Will is not going to be winning it today. But
So Will gets bumped down the leaderboard. Ali Knowles and Casarino take over the clubhouse lead, remaining on that score of 30.6. Just 2 more to go now. Doug Payne and Star Witness in now. They were 2nd after dressage and remained in that position with a fast clear round in the mare's CCI 2-star debut. And she's only run 1 CIC 2-star in her entire international career, finishing 4th at Stableview.
pretty good start so far. Lost a little bit of power coming up the hill over the 2nd.
She's 7 years old, a Dutch warm blood mare Doug owns with Laurie McCree and Catherine Winter.
Doug practices an awful lot in the show jumping. He lives out near Tryon, North Carolina, where the World Equestrian Games were, and they have their spring, summer, and autumn circuit. And Doug frequently does the small Grand Prix there.
All clear as he comes to this Liverpool vertical at fence 9. Clear over that as well.
There's his final line. Big Ox are coming up the hill. Super shot there. Gets the 8 strides to the triple A, B, done, and gets a clear round. Good for him. That's a wonderful round.
A super clear round inside the time for Doug Payne and Star Witness in the mare's CCI 2-star debut. They will take over the provisional lead now on their dressage score of 29.6. Just one rider to go, and this is the man to beat, Alex O'Neill and Fury H. They led right off the bat in the dressage on a score of 29.5. They defended it yesterday on the cross country with a speedy clear round inside the time, and now they come forward. These are the pair to beat. Can they do it, Karen?
What's his FEI record in show jumping? I'm putting you on the spot, aren't I?
So 3 rails down in the Stable View CIC 2-star, but a clear round prior to that and a winner at Chattahoochee Hills in the CIC 2-star. So this really could go anyway.
Could go anyway. We
come on, Alex.
Imagine.
Well, he said that his man, Richard Pickin, is here tuning him up, warming him up. And of course, Richard, coach to Philip Dutton, Boyd Martin, and a number of the top riders in the sport. It's an 8-year-old Dutch warm blood gelding owned by Sally Cox. Rubs that rail, but it stays in the cups.
Gets another rub. It does drive you crazy when they touch the jumps when you're on course, and you'd rather have a rub-free round. But the main thing is that they stay in the cups, and he's having so far a super ride.
Just the triple combination to go now, and he's clear so far.
And he's clear.
There's your winner, Alex O'Neill and Fury H. Clinched the win wire to wire on their dressage score of 29.5. Fabulous, fabulous round from Alex, Karen. Well-deserved win.
He should be very happy. I know he and Elliot both had a very good weekend. And he gets the big win of the day, last rider of the day.
Well, fabulous to see him giving the horse big hugs,
and
big pats.
A local competitor. He and Elliot are our neighbors. And you know what's really interesting is 110th Street rules today because Catherine,
yes,
Catherine and the O'Neills live side by side on 110th.
Well, you see a beautiful aerial view there of Ocala Jockey Club where Alex O'Neill has just won the 2-star with Fury H. The sun is starting to set, Karen, and what a special place. You see those rolling hills and the wonderful live oak trees. How lucky we are to have had such a fabulous weekend at this event. So we've just seen Alex O'Neill and Fury H win the CCI 2-star, a fabulous, fabulous day of sport, and really a fabulous weekend of sport, Karen. We couldn't have asked for a better competition.
Yeah, I didn't even pack my raincoat all weekend.
Didn't need it.
Didn't need it. It was fantastic, and the ground was really great. We've had some wonderful, wonderful rounds, and what I'm most excited about is the next generation of young horses that the riders are riding now.
Absolutely, especially in this 2-star. We saw a number of horses stepping up to the level for the first time. Doug Payne and Star Witness finishing second. In a superb round, Allie Knowles and Casarino moved up to finish third thanks to that clutch clear round. And we can show you all of those scores on evententries.com. Go there to check for all the coverage, and you can watch all of our coverage back on the EQ TV Network Facebook page. Thank you so much for joining us this weekend. We hope you've enjoyed the show.
In the rarefied hills of north central Florida sits an equestrian paradise on 950 acres, the Ocala Jockey Club. The pastures are unprecedented. The sunsets are glorious. The Ocala Jockey Club has full training services for thoroughbreds in all stages of their careers. The training track is dragged daily and irrigated to ensure proper consistency of footing. The rolling hills provide natural rehabilitation for horses. Ocala has earned its regard as the horse capital of the world.
Ocala has continued to get better every year, and I'm really excited with what's coming in the years to come for the horse sport.
The Ocala Jockey Club is also home to work-class eventing. The dramatic and rigorous cross-country course was created by an acclaimed Olympic cross-country course designer. The show jumping arena sits within clear view from the Ocala Jockey Club restaurant.
Welcome to the Ocala Jockey Club, the horse capital of the world. And here we are at this amazing venue that can hold its best in anywhere in the world.
It's a great place to train. The ground is wonderful, the people are lovely, the weather, can't really beat that.
This is fantastic, you know, this is world class.
The very best went into the inaugural international CCI 1-star, 2-star, and CIC 3-star events hosted at the Ocala Jockey Club in 2016. It was a resounding success. The Ocala Jockey Club restaurant sits perched on one of the highest points in Marion County. With panoramic views of the farm and training track, it serves as a perfect setting for weddings, clinics, family reunions, holiday parties, as well as corporate meetings and retreats. A perfect destination for resort hospitality. The Ocala Jockey Club, set in the serene natural beauty of north central Florida, is an international resort for the discerning horseman. It is like no other horse facility in the world, combining the hills of Virginia, the lush turf of Kentucky, the pastoral beauty of the English countryside with the welcoming year-long climate of Florida. The Ocala Jockey Club is a horse lover's paradise.